Let's talk about the difference between affect and effect, or affect. Affect is usually a verb, and it means to make an impact or to have an effect on something. Effect is usually a noun, and it refers to the result of some kind of action. So here are a couple of examples for affect, and notice that often affect has to do with a kind of emotional impact. So we could say, I am deeply affected by your loss, or your action affects all of us. And notice that in these cases, because affect is a verb, there has to be a subject doing this action. So I am affected. You can see this is the passive voice. It happens to me, but I is the subject. And here, your action is the subject, and then that does the action of affecting. So your action affects all of us. In the case of effect, we are looking for a noun. So we might say, let's study the effect, or the effect, and notice that we have this article here, and that's usually a good clue that we're dealing with a noun, right? Let's study the effect of raising taxes, or your actions had there's another article, a negative effect. And now you can see that here there is a verb, your actions had, there's our verb, and effect then is the direct object, so it has to be a noun. And that's why I would really suggest that you don't just kind of say, well, what does it mean? But look for the particular part of speech if you're confused. There are a couple of exceptions to these rules, and they're fairly rare, but they're worth pointing out. Sometimes affect is used as a noun to mean some kind of feeling or emotion, and it's particularly a term in psychology. So I would really restrict your use probably just to the field of psychology or psychiatry, and in that case it refers to a kind of emotion, but it's kind of a technical concept. If you want to use it generally, you could say something like, she displayed a melancholy affect, okay, an outward expression of an emotion. But often the term that you probably are looking for is the term affectation. And affectation is a noun that means a feeling, a kind of expression of feeling or emotion that's not genuinely felt. So kind of a pretense that's going on. And then the last one here is effect used as a verb. And the only time that you would really use that is to mean something like to achieve, or bring about, or cause, or create, or make. And it's often used with this word change. So you might say something like, our party will affect great change. Affect change. And here affect really means to achieve, or to bring about, or to make. And that's the only time that you would use affect as a verb. So most of the time then, if you ignore these two exceptions, we're going to use affect as a verb and effect as a noun.